Hello, my dears. I hope that you're all doing well and in a good health. This is 23rd of January. This is the science lesson for today. In the previous lessons, we started with forces and motions. So we explained different type of forces and how they can affect our daily life and how we use the forces during our activities or during our motions in like any job that we do, any work that we do during our daily habits or daily activities. For today, we're going to start with another type of force, which is named as air resistance and drag. Okay, so prior to this lesson, we explained friction. Do you remember what friction is? If you remember, please write it down on the notebook that you have in front of you or on the piece of paper that you have and tell me what can affect friction. For instance, we had four main, let's say, qualities that can affect, or qualities of objects that can affect friction. And we said that how important friction is and how could friction help you to conduct your activities, or how it can prohibit you from doing your activities. So it has benefits and problems as well, or let's say advantages and disadvantages. For today, we're going to explain this type of force. Uh, when you look at the name of the force, air resistance, it means there's something that's about air. And you can see that man is flying over there. There must be a type of air that's, or a type of force that's actually making him to stop in this way, or to motion in this way, or to go down towards Earth in this way. In here, when you look at this picture, there are two forces that are mainly, there are two forces. One of them is the gravitational force, which actually pulls this man towards the Earth, and there also is another force which is called by air resistance that actually balances. Like combination of these two forces will provide a balance for that man to fly uh, over the Earth or over the country that he's flying over. So, have you ever held your hand out of a car window? If yes, what did you feel? I'm sure you did, because I did during my childhood as well. Even sometimes nowadays, people, you can see when you go on the streets, you can see that people are, uh, they held their hand out of a car window. So if you do that, if you haven't done it, please do it and you'll see what the feeling is. Actually, you'll feel that there's a force that's taking your hands to the back, okay, or backward, okay. That force is of air, which we call as air resistance. Every time an object moves, it will experience air resistance. This is a pushing force. You can feel it push your hair back and make your clothes ripple as you run or ride your bike. So when you are riding a bike, when you are running, several things will happen actually. Maybe your hair is going to go backward, actually moves, or it pushes your hair. What's pushing your hair? It's the air. If you fan your face with your hand, you can feel the air moving towards you. Okay, this is air. Okay, so moving objects and air resistance. Let's see what happens to the moving objects and when there's air resistance, and there surely will be air resistance when there's movement. Air is a mixture of gases, we all know that. The particles of gas push against things which are moving and create a force. Okay, so the force that's created by the gases, the force or by the gases in the air has a name. Okay, this force is called by air resistance. It also has another name which people usually call it as drag. Air resistance pushes against a moving object, such as a car, and slows it down. So, the larger the surface area of the moving object, the more air resistance there is. So, the picture that you're seeing in front of you, it's a sports car. Okay? This sports car will go faster than a bus. Okay? It can go faster than any other different type of sedan. Okay? Car. It's a type of car which is called by sedan, which is actually family cars. Why it's going faster? It's because of this reason. What's the reason? The reason is the larger the surface area of the moving object, which is the bus, it has a larger area or a larger surface, okay, and it's moving. Therefore, the air will resist, okay, will actually slow the car down, okay. So if you drive this sports car, you don't need to push the fuel that much, okay. You don't need to go so fast to make the car move. It moves fast normally or ordinarily, okay. But the bus will need more force for the engine to move, okay. And if you want to stop them, the bus will stop faster than this. Why? Because it has a larger surface area, while the sports car has what? Smaller surface area, okay. Therefore, air resistance will be more on the objects that have larger surface area, and air resistance will be less on the objects that have smaller surface area, just like the bus and the sports car, okay. After that, we explained the moving objects. Let's see what happens to the falling objects. Air resistance also pushes against falling objects and slows them down. A parachute uses air resistance to work. It's very light in weight and has a very big surface area. So, when there is a big surface area, it's more likely to catch more air. Okay? And when that big surface area catches more air, what happens? Air resistance will be there. It catches lots of air in it as it falls down, so it creates a lot of air resistance drag. When this parachute comes down, there is a force that's actually trying to catch it. That force is of gravity, catch it towards Earth. But there also is a force that tries to what? To push it up to the sky. That force is of air resistance, okay? So in here, it's a parachute's job to create or to cause as much air resistance as possible by trapping as much air as it can. So the bigger the parachute, the more air resistance happens. What do you think happens to the speed of a falling object the greater the air resistance it has? So when an object has a greater air resistance, what do you think will happen? Will it fall very fast? Will it fall very slow? Please, if you know the answer, write it down. The air resistance causes the parachute to fully open and become as big as possible. So when the parachute becomes so big that catches enough air to stay in the air or to stay in the sky, there is a larger or a greater amount of air resistance. Because of what? Because of having a larger surface area. You can see this apple, which we used during the explanation of gravity. Uh, if you actually throw an apple, you will I'm sorry about that. Wait, let me get back to it, please. Okay. So if you throw an apple, the apple will not directly touch the ground. Okay, will not touch the ground very directly. It takes some time. It's because of what? It's because of a resistance. If that apple is thrown from a very high building, it will take time for the apple to touch the ground. Why? It's because of a resistance. If that apple is bigger, it takes more time. If it's huge, if it's gigantic apple, if actually it is a car, so more air and the gravity actually attracts that object, but still we will have a resistance. The amount of air resistance acting on an object depends on the size, shape, and speed of the object. So, in the case of friction, we explained that there are 4 reasons that affect friction. Okay? What were they? 4 reasons that affect friction. In here, for air resistance, we also have what? We also have mainly 3 ones. First one is the size of the object, okay, the shape of the object, and speed of the object. These 3 will definitely affect air resistance. Why? Because air resistance is the force that opposes the motion of objects through air. We said that air is made up of different gases, and those gases will actually produce air resistance. Therefore, the size, the shape, and the speed of the object will definitely affect the object that's falling. Okay, so I will be uploading a video with this explanation of air resistance, which shows how cars can go faster and what are the reasons that help the car to go faster and to have less air resistance on it. Of course, it's because of the size and shape. These 2 reasons, like the size and the shape of the car or of the moving object, will definitely affect the car's speed, okay? And will definitely make the car to catch less air, okay? So therefore, size and shape can also affect the speed of an object, although size, shape, and speed of an object can affect resistance. So thank you very much for watching this video. Please try to watch the other video, and I will share another worksheet for you, which is of science creating a parachute, which is very easy, and you only need the matters or the materials that you have at home. You can create a parachute and see how it goes. You can repeatedly create a better one by using what? By using different materials. But first, please follow the instructions that are given within the worksheet. Thank you very much for attending the lesson. Wish you all have a wonderful day. Bye bye.